The black people had simply done overpopulation. They had enslaved a bunch of white people and were basically using white women to basically birth babies, basically. Like they would chain them to the wall, to the floors and the walls, and basically they would rape them until they had children with them. And eventually, and then the black people would basically, the black leader would encourage the black people to do whatever they wanted and basically let them basically have sex like crazy. And basically, there was a huge overpopulation problem of black people, and pretty much, they didn't. None of them really worked. The black leader was like, "You don't have to work, blah blah blah. You don't have to do anything, blah blah blah." And basically, he wanted his people to be like cockroaches or like a plague, pretty much. And so they didn't really work. They really didn't do anything very much. They didn't know anything. They didn't go to school. They didn't even really have like there is no black language. Like most people, like the English have their own language, the Germans had their own language, the Chinese had their own language because they built their own language. They created it. A German linguist had actually worked with a German and an English linguist or Britain linguist had worked together to give others to help others create their own languages, and then that led to other people like Japan, or Chinese really, or Orientals basically. Um, Having their own language and even the Arabic language, other languages. Although, well, black people claim that they created Arabic or whatever, but they didn't. It was all German and Britain basically English. Um, Arabic, well, Arabic probably comes from America or the Aryans, which were basically blue-eyed and green-eyed genetically created life forms by Germans, basically, at some point in time. Um, an advanced race, basically, of peoples. Anyway, very wonderful people, very loving, light-skinned. Well, not really light-skinned. I forget what they have a particular color. It's kind of like a yellowish, I guess, a little bit. It looks a little bit different. Kind of a slightly yellowish but tan color, I believe. I've seen them before, but anyway, green eyes, blue eyes, and there were some gray eyes, but I didn't really want gray eyes because I was like, why have gray? Also, amber, that's another color. And the natural eye color for most things is black or dark colored. Um, but because most animals have that. And I think there's something to do with seeing in the dark and stuff like that. Certain colors are better for that. Anyway, though, but and there was some advanced stuff as well, but that was thousands of years ago. Anyway, basically, the black people or some group of people wanted to stomp out my Aryans. My Aryans went everywhere because they used aircraft. Basically, Aryans means people of flight, pretty much, which basically means Germans, Britons, and even not really Chinese. They were Orientals, where they weren't a part of that originally. It was kind of like a cowboy kind of mix of Germans and English and basically people. Anyway, they moved up to the mountains to get away from the carnage and the death that was happening a couple thousand years ago or a million years ago. I believe on this planet, but I don't really know. The world looked different back then. That's all I can tell you. It was a long time ago. But anyway, though, they went up into the mountains and into the mines, like towards Tibet, and they were up in there, and then they came down. Those stories are true. Um, anyway, they were a good and loving race, and basically like English. But I believe the black people were around in there. There were some bad people that eventually came nearby them and started slaughtering them. Anyway, it was very hard to live back in the past. Like Nixon and Harlem and Wolf had way too much power and way too much money. And some of my groups of people found themselves running for their lives, and it became very hard. Like I say, Harlem and Wolf, the black people, they didn't particularly care. Once they got old to a certain age, they're like, burn it all down, go take it down, like Mr. Brown. And, I think it might have been like Michael Jackson's father, or one of them basically was saying, when Mr. Brown's in town, something's going down, or something like that, or someone's going down, basically meaning, girl's head. Anyway, the black people pretty much made it their mission or the black leader pretty much made it his mission to pretty much be the most worst person in existence, I guess. I don't know why. Um, I don't know, maybe it's because he had walked in on a bunch of money or something, or just found it so easy in the past to kill and rape and steal and lie to people. And it was easy, and it was easy to lie. With films, you could show a film and people would actually believe what they saw on the screen, even though you don't really know unless you actually go there and look. And even live TV isn't necessarily live anymore. They have a 5 second or a 5 minute. There is no live TV. Even if it says live, it's not live. Even Facebook isn't live. Um, so, because there's still those little pockets. Although with my satellites and my aircraft and all that other stuff and all my people working to bring truth and justice, the American way, the Chinese way too, by the way, the German way, and England, Britain. Anyway, most groups of people would just want to be honest and truthful because we're just normal people. Trying to survive. I was just a creator. I mean, true, I create 800 galaxies and the sun and the stars, lots of stars. There's 400 or 3,000 stars, early first stars, or that I created, and then more were created because of it. Like I said, my insects, my exoskeletons needed the sun for photosynthesis for plant life. Originally, life began with thermal vents and stuff like that. And that is a valid life form, and there's algae and all kinds of stuff that works with that. Low-tech life. But when you want to get up to the big life, you got to go with something like a star. You need a fusion reactor in space, which I provided for my exoskeletons and some other life forms, for the trees and stuff. So there's a lot of things about that, and it's very hard, believe me. It's not easy to create. All this stuff that people take for granted is really actually a lot harder than most people think. It was not easy, and after they destroyed, like I said, the radiation is a real problem. Plants are less affected, but still affected. Anyway, radiation is always a problem. A long time ago, there wasn't any radiation because there weren't any stars. Long time ago. Anyway, though, but the way life works and the way it goes out and how it just kind of gets more and more stars, because it's not that hard, actually. Especially once you get a little bit of it. Anyway, there's a lot of advanced races, like I say, out there. Most people think, oh, we're the only one. No, we're not. There's millions and billions and trillions of life forms out there. There's the ones I created, and then there's a lot more. So I'm just one. I lasted the longest, 100 trillion years, but, there are others, and I mostly lived because I didn't really do much. I just created and built, and I built for other life forms, and because it's like, well, I can do it easily, and I enjoy building, I enjoy creating, so I did a lot, heck of a lot. And I thought it would be fun to do like a space Easter egg hunt. Follow the epic creator of LS. Follow the epic, because like I say, in stars in space there really are 400 or thousands of planets that I had been on. I cruised around the galaxy, the universe actually. This galaxy, and not just this galaxy, but other galaxies. I went away from the light bubble. I've gone past the outer rim, past the edge of the light. Originally, there were two other little bubbles of light, and I traveled to one, and I traveled back, or something like that. Or I've traveled from one. I don't really know. I might be from another one, and then came here. I'm not sure. Anyway, I traveled around a lot. Trillions of millions of zillions of light years. I've even been in the galaxy that's coming towards us. Of course, because I built it. So that was a long time ago. Probably 100 trillion years. Probably 70 trillion years ago. I was on the other galaxy. In the other galaxy. They're pretty good people too. And then I came here. Better people, actually. I did the same kind of things, only, whatever. It gets all complicated. But yeah. So, like I say, you can ask any of the other stars or any of they should know me. I mean, it's been probably 120 million years or something like that, or more. So they seem to forget me every couple of trillion years, but whatever.